Now to medical news. A rapidly developing body of research is revealing new insight into postpartum depression. New studies show that a woman can struggle from this form of depression for more than 4 years after giving birth. Researchers are also discovering that this illness is more common and varied than previously understood. Lauren Safran is the New York co-coordinator of Postpartum Support International, and she also has experience with dealing with this illness, and she joins us here in our New York studios. Welcome to Arise America. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
This is such an important topic, and I'm even amazed. I've had one child, and I'm even amazed by how little people really talk about it. It's still cloaked in silence and in shame. So let's just start off with some groundwork. What is postpartum depression and what is it not?
Okay, first of all, postpartum depression is now being called perinatal mood disorders, or even perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, which is the umbrella. Postpartum depression is one of those disorders under this umbrella. And it's the most common one of all. To give examples, it's much like a regular depression, except you've just had a child, you're hopeless, you're not feeling a connection to the child, you are having sleep issues, eating issues, you are not functioning like you did before. Those are some of the things, but there are an array, as you said, and studies have now shown that there are an array of disorders, not just postpartum depression, and many of them are mixed and mingled as well. So.
Give me some statistics, if you can, in terms of how many women experience postpartum depression or any of these mood and anxiety disorders. Yes. And is there any particular group of women that are more disposed?
No, it does not discriminate. It's across every culture, all women are susceptible if given the right mix of hormones, chemistry, stress, and other factors, including family history. So
the family history is a component in
family
this.
History is, and one of the new findings is that it's not that new, but we've known it for some time at Postpartum Support International, but a big indicator as far as family history is bipolar disorder, and it doesn't even have to be the mother that has had it. If you have it in your family, you're more susceptible. It's one of the risk factors.
One of the things that you're finding in the medical community with this research, particularly that we referenced, is that the name is sort of a misnomer, postpartum depression, right, which would imply that this happens after giving birth. You just gave us the new name, the perinatal
mood and anxiety disorders, or sometimes it's called postpartum mood disorder,
yes,
as well.
But it can start before giving birth.
Yes.
And why is that important to know and understand?
Well, we have to get in there early on when a woman decides that she's ready to start this new point in her life. We need more screening. We need more people in healthcare aware. Postpartum Support International, that's one of the things we strive to do, is make people aware that this happens early on. And if we catch it as early as pregnancy, we're doing well. There was a study recently in 2013. They studied 10,000 women who were giving birth, who had given birth. Of them, I believe a fifth of them had postpartum depression, and a third of those that had it had the onset was actually in pregnancy. Mm-hmm. So it's really a factor that we are not as aware of as we should be.
We've talked so often, Lauren, about the difference between postpartum depression and just normal baby blues that will go away all by itself. So just for the women who are watching, are there signals, are there signs that they can watch and monitor to know the difference between something that needs to be treated and something that, with given time and getting used to a new baby, you're going to be okay?
Right. Baby blues are very common. Many people I know, friends, family, describe them. They shouldn't last more than 2 weeks. And they're certainly not as severe, and they shouldn't affect the woman's functioning and her ability to bond with the child. It's tearfulness, it's irritability, those kind of hormonal feelings many women get. Your hormones throughout your pregnancy, they go up like 100-fold. And I believe it's something like literally the day you give birth, the hormones plummet within 24 hours back almost to the level they were pre-pregnancy. So if you're experiencing that and it's not too severe and it lasts about 2 weeks, it's usually not something to worry about, although you should always, if you're not feeling well, consult with someone, let your family members know, and family members should also be aware. If it continues on, if it gets worse, if you're finding you are crying constantly, you have no ability to do the activities you used to do, like even little things like washing dishes are overwhelming and taking a shower. I mean, some of that is normal once you've given birth, you're exhausted, but you sort of have to meet out what, it's hard for the actual mother to do this, so people around her also need to be involved.
And that brings me to the next question I want to ask you. You've experienced postpartum depression with the birth of both of your children.
Yes,
so what was your experience, not only with the disease itself, but with how people reacted to you? Because I imagine that that's a part of, I don't know if this is too big a word, but a part of the trauma of it all, because people just don't understand.
Right, and there is still, I mean, I live in a very educated community, but it almost seems like sometimes in those types of community, there's more of a wish to have the white picket fence and, the perfectionism. And so it's a scary thought to let people know. I mean, motherhood is not something we're taught. We're educated in so many ways, but not in parenthood. And it's really scary to tell people that you're not feeling a bond. And as a matter of fact, you're feeling panicky when you're around your child. So you don't tell that many people usually. And I didn't tell that many people, although the people closest to me, I did tell. Even if I hadn't told them, I was so drastically different, they would have known.
It's so important to talk about. I remember, we've got to close out this conversation, but I remember one of my coworkers asked me after I gave birth, did you just fall in love the minute you saw her?
Yes.
And I did love her,
right.
But it kind of took a while for me to kind of like that little wiggling thing that was in my arm.
Absolutely, and that's for people that don't have any sort of mood disorder or anxiety. It's not necessarily normal to bond immediately with your child. It happens over time for a lot of people.
Important to speak up, talk to your doctor.
Yes, absolutely. And you can always contact Postpartum Support International. It's postpartum.net. We have a ton of services. And
Great information. Lauren Safran, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.